To members of South Carolina's coronavirus task force, and South Carolina's Governor Henry McMaster a short time ago announcing yet another step a week from now in reopening South Carolina's economy.
Yes, and now on Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock, less than 24 hours after allowing inside dining at restaurants, the governor just announcing that more restrictions will be lifted soon. Governor McMaster announcing that on Monday, several restrictions on businesses will be lifted on Monday, May the 18th. And that includes close contact businesses like at hair salons, barbershops, tattoo parlors. Also recreation facilities and businesses like athletic fields, gyms, and at pools.
Now we're accelerating back up, and we hope to be at full speed just as quickly as possible, but also as safely as possible.
Of course, that big announcement continuing South Carolina's march toward getting back to normal life down the road. We do thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock. I'm Scott Wickersham.
And I'm Erica Bryant. Our South Carolina Bureau reporter Greg Suskin is joining us now live. Greg, he announced on Friday that he would be talking about hair salons and barbershops today, and he has done just that, making the announcement that they will be back open on Monday. I know it's just happened just moments ago, but what do you think the reaction has been, or what have you seen so far?
From what I've seen from the business community, some of this, of course, was expected after his announcement on Friday, particularly when it has to do with gyms. See this parking lot we're in right here? There's a big gym right there with a completely empty parking lot. We knew hair salons were going to be part of this as well, but he also added in some additional things not talked about before, like tanning salons, tattoo parlors, public pools as well. And so from the business community, a lot of this is welcome news.
It's been very difficult, and I think everyone's so unsure of what the future holds.
Nicole Reed owns Bella Cole Salon in Rock Hill. It's been quiet here since they closed in March, believing they'd be back soon.
We thought we'd be back in a couple weeks, and then it set in, wow, we're not going to be back. You know, how are we going to feed our family? Are we going to have a business left?
Hundreds of appointments were lost as they waited while other businesses were eventually reopened. Now the governor has set the date for hair salons, nail salons, and gyms to cut the lights back on. Some say it's time.
I feel small businesses need to get back if the right precautions are taken and everybody's wearing protective masks as we were.
Stacey Laughlin Fan, a nurse, told me she's torn.
I think it's time for us to try to move forward, but at the same time I have my own fears about it too.
And there was an obvious difference in opinion over grouping gyms in with salons. People told us as gyms open, they won't be going just yet.
You can just go to the park, you can go outside, you can run, you can do push-ups. So I don't think the gyms are as essential.
I don't think gyms are very essential. I think you can exercise at home and outside, and people can live without it for a while.
Yeah, now what I was really waiting to hear, and I did catch just a little of it before we went on the air from the governor's response to a question, was the actual restrictions. What are going to be the rules and guidelines when these places open? I caught a little bit of what he said, talking about having these businesses open by appointment, not having people waiting around in a waiting room, make sure that they've got social distancing in place, that everything is clean and disinfected between customers as well. And also he mentioned wearing face masks and shields and things like that. We'll have to dig into some of those actual details and report to you later on exactly what they're asking these places to do when they open a week from today. Erica?
Yes, Greg, and we were listening in, got a few more of those details as you were mentioning. Thank you. Several other states like Florida and Ohio also starting to reopen businesses like salons where it is impossible really to be socially distant. There are some strict rules for both the business and the customer, which Governor McMaster announced we should be following as well in South Carolina. Many of the salons will require accepting customers by appointment only. You are to remain in your car until a worker can bring you inside. Employees must also be screened before work, and they must wear masks. Just today, restaurants in South Carolina started allowing inside dining. There are some guidelines, though. The restaurants can only be at about 50% capacity. Tables and chairs 6 to 8 feet apart they must be placed, and employees need to have their health checks.
Now, those rules might sound like a lot, but those are for, of course, everyone's benefit to stop more people getting sick in South Carolina, and I'm sure businesses want to get open. They're going to hopefully do a great job following those and maybe even going above and beyond. Now, today we did learn that 2 more families in York County have now lost loved ones to the virus. In the last 10 minutes, the state reporting 15 new deaths and about 140 new cases. The number of new cases has stayed pretty consistent over the past few days.
In North Carolina, we're happy to say that there was a dramatic drop in the number of new cases reported today. Take a look at the numbers. Today, 281 cases compared to more than 400 announced the day before. The state did reach above 15,000 positive cases, though, today, but that is, for comparison, out of 196,000 tests completed. So that means that more than about 92% of tests have been negative.
Memories from your senior year in high school are irreplaceable. This week, CMS seniors will learn what their graduation ceremony will look like. Seniors finished voting on 3 options over the weekend. Now, along with a pre-recorded virtual ceremony, they could have either a drive-through event to pick up their diploma, have diplomas mailed to their house, or mailed diplomas with school celebrations somewhere in the future. Eyewitness News reporter Elsa Gillis spoke with seniors hoping for another option and a parent about the complexity of planning a graduation during this pandemic.
I understand it's very hard because, like I said, it's so many of us, but yeah, I definitely understand the dangers of the disease and everything, and I wouldn't want anyone to get it, but I feel like there could be another way.
CMS seniors Maura Crenshaw and Daquan Redfern say they're disappointed. The virtual options presented to them in the graduation survey weren't what they were hoping for.
We all seen ourselves futuristic, like, oh, I cannot wait till I go across the stage and walk in and see my family so proud and rooting for me.
They told me they'd like the district to consider some other options.
I feel like there's so many big places in Charlotte that they could have possibly did something where we're not coming in close contact, but we're still honoring what we have accomplished. And even if it was pushed back to a further date, the ceremonies.
It's painful. And it's very hard and it's emotional.
Parent Nancy Holmes has a child set to graduate. She was also on the CMS graduation task force. She shared some insight into the complex process.
Equity was a huge thing. Practicality was a huge thing. There was a lot of thought put into it. I mean, I get that people are disappointed. I'm disappointed. You know, I thought, well, why don't we do it at Carowinds and have a stage? Well, you know why? Because there are a lot of kids out there who don't have access to cars, who can't get to a graduation that require them to drive through. Well, why don't we use a bus? Okay, well, we can't put more than, 6 people on a school bus?
She also says CMS has 31 graduations in total, with the earliest starting next week, and they all have to be the same.
I'm going to be thankful either way that I'm graduating and that, I'm alive and I'm safe. But I just really, really hope that they can reconsider a different idea for our graduation.
Now, the students told me they understand that equity is an issue, but said that they would work together to help support students facing barriers to an in-person option. Now, the parent you heard from also shared with me that they did discuss pushing some of the graduation ceremonies, but that many students actually spoke up saying they wanted to graduate now, get their diplomas and move forward. Though the students I spoke with today shared that they would be okay delaying it a bit. So you can see this is a very difficult situation, very difficult decision, a sensitive one. The superintendent is set to make his recommendation at tomorrow night's Board of Education meeting. Scott?
Yeah, and like you say, Elsa, it's so important to make sure that every single student can be included and can take part, that equity that she talked about. Thanks, Elsa. High school seniors in Cabarrus County have their graduation plans set. They're going to be doing kind of a drive-in movie-style graduation out at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They will drive with their families along the track and get their diploma at the finish line. That should be quite a sight. Area colleges are pushing back some of their commencement ceremonies. UNC Charlotte postponed theirs until August or December. Winthrop pushing its back to August 15th. Davidson will have an online celebration later this month, and they're also working on a campus ceremony. And CPCC will have small in-person ceremonies in late July. More planes are getting ready to take off now at Charlotte Douglas Airport. Flights were virtually empty. Some were down 42% in the month of March. Well, now airport workers are getting prepared as they think more people will start to fly. Channel 9's Tina Terry spoke with a flight attendant and passengers about changes to keep you safe including wearing a mask.
Yeah, one flight attendant told me that mask mandate comes just in time as traffic here at the airport starts to pick up again. COVID-19's impact on American Airlines is evident. Chopper 9 Skyzoom flew over 20 planes, grounded due to flight reductions. System-wide, the airline has suspended 70% of domestic flights.
In the past 10 days, I have noticed a phenomenal increase in passengers.
An American Airlines flight attendant who asked to remain anonymous told us traffic is slowly picking up now that America is reopening. In fact, Saturday, the airline says Charlotte's airport saw its highest number of departing passengers since March 21st, just before the governor's stay-at-home order. But that flight attendant says too many passengers are failing to protect each other.
People with no mask and no social distancing.
Starting today, American is now requiring all passengers to wear face coverings while on board.
I'm glad they're taking those precautions because even though I personally don't feel like I'm that worried about the virus, I'm worried that I could be spreading it to somebody else.
The masks are part of the new normal designed to keep employees and passengers safe.
That's a step in the right direction to have them wear masks.
American says it is also limiting the number of passengers on each flight, and it's also limiting the number of people that it seats in those middle seats in the main section in order to help with social distancing. Back to you.
All right, Tina, thank you. You could soon have to get your temperature checked before you get on that plane, along with the mask. Airlines for America represents several big carriers, and they say it would be back at the TSA checking the temperatures of passengers and some members of flight crews. Frontier Airlines says it'll be doing that starting June 1st.